I still remember the exact words she said to me the night she left. We were standing in the kitchen of our tiny apartment, the one with the broken radiator that hissed all night and the ceiling stain that looked like Abraham Lincoln if you squinted right. She had her coat on. Her bags were already by the door. "Marcus, I love you, but I can't keep doing this. I need someone who's going somewhere." I was 26 years old, eating ramen 4 nights a week, working 2 jobs, and secretly building something I believed in with everything I had. And the woman I thought I was going to marry looked me in the eyes and told me that I wasn't enough. Her name was Danielle, and for 3 years, she had been my whole world. Danielle and I met in college. She was sharp, beautiful, the kind of woman who walked into a room and rearranged the air. I fell fast and hard. We graduated together, moved in together, and for a while, things were good. But then the gaps started to show. She landed a corporate marketing job with a salary, benefits, and a glass-walled office. I was freelancing, graphic design, branding, website builds, anything I could get. Some months were solid. Other months, I was praying a client paid their invoice before rent was due. She never let me forget the difference. It started small. "We can't go to that restaurant, can we?" said with a smile, but pointed like a pin. Then it became comments at dinner parties. "Marcus is still figuring things out," while laughing like it was affectionate. It wasn't. The worst part wasn't even the money. It was the way she started looking at me. Like I was a project she'd grown tired of renovating. I tried to explain what I was building. I've been quietly developing a design and branding consultancy. Not freelance hustle, an actual company. I had 2 junior designers working under me, a growing client list, and a business model I'd spent 18 months refining. I'd even turned down a full-time job offer to keep going. When I told Danielle, she nodded slowly and said, "That's sweet, Marcus." Sweet. Like I'd shown her a drawing I'd made in art class. 6 weeks later, she was gone. The breakup wrecked me in ways I didn't expect. Not because I was surprised. Looking back, the signs had been there for a year. But because I had genuinely believed that if I just showed her enough, proved enough, she'd see it. She'd stay. Instead, she started dating a guy named Trent 3 months later. Finance bro, company car. Instagram full of rooftop bars and weekend trips to Lisbon. I watched her stories for exactly 47 days before I deleted the app. Then I went back to work. I mean that literally. I worked like grief was fuel because it was every late night, every ignored invoice, every moment of self-doubt got compressed into something useful. I hired a 3rd designer, then a 4th. I landed a regional retail chain as a client, then a tech startup. Then the startup got acquired, and suddenly my agency was attached to a deal that made headlines in a trade publication. Doors started opening. I moved out of the apartment with the Lincoln-shaped ceiling stain. Then I moved again into a place with floor-to-ceiling windows and a view of the river. I started flying business class not because I was showing off, but because I genuinely couldn't function after 6 hours in a middle seat anymore. I didn't tell anyone. Not my friends. Not my family. I'd learned from experience that success announced too early becomes a target. I just kept building. I need to be clear about something. I didn't pursue the Forbes feature. Their journalist reached out through my agency's press contact after we won a design award that got some industry buzz. I did the interview mostly because my PR consultant told me it would be good for client acquisition. The piece ran on a Thursday morning. By Thursday afternoon, my phone had 47 notifications from people I hadn't spoken to in years. Old college classmates. A former client who ghosted me on an invoice. My cousin who once told me freelancing was not a real career. And then, at 6:14 p.m., a message from a number I hadn't deleted but had buried so deep in my contacts it might as well have been archived in amber. "Hey stranger, I saw the article. You look incredible. I'm so proud of you. Danielle." I put my phone face down on my desk and stared at the wall for a long time. She didn't stop at one. Over the next 4 days, she sent 11 messages. I know because I counted. They started casual. Congrats on everything. Then warmer. I always knew you had it in you. Then nostalgic. I was thinking about that apartment the other day. Do you remember when the heat broke in January? On day 4, she called. I didn't pick up. She left a voicemail. Marcus, it's me. I know this is out of nowhere, and I know I don't have any right to reach out, but I've been doing a lot of thinking, and I realize I made a mistake. A real one. I was scared back then, and I took it out on you, and that wasn't fair. I'd really love to just talk, even just as friends. Please call me back. Her voice cracked slightly on the last sentence. I played it twice. Not because I was tempted. I want to be honest about that. I played it twice because I needed to feel it fully. The version of me who ate ramen alone after she left, who cried in his car in a parking garage because he couldn't figure out how to pay his designers and keep the lights on and survive the weight of being told he wasn't enough. That version of me deserved to hear this moment out loud. Then I deleted the voicemail. Here's the part one don't think people expect. She showed up at an industry event 2 weeks later. I'd been invited to speak on a panel about scaling creative businesses. She was there as a marketing director for some mid-sized company. Legitimate reason to be in the room. I'll give her that. She found me at the drinks table afterward. She looked exactly the same. Maybe that was the most disorienting part. I'd changed so much that I barely recognized myself in old photos. She looked like she pressed pause. You were incredible up there, she said. Thank you. Silence. Marcus, I meant what I said in my voicemail. I turned to look at her properly for the first time. I wasn't angry. I want to be clear about that, because anger would have meant she still had power over me. What I felt was something closer to clarity. Danielle, I'm going to say this kindly because I think you deserve kindness. I paused. What you did hurt me. Not just the leaving. I understand why you left. We were going different directions, and you made a choice. That's human. I took a sip of my drink. What hurt was the way you made me feel small while you were doing it. Like my belief in myself was embarrassing to you. She opened her mouth. I kept going. And now I'm standing here, and I can see exactly what's happening, and I need you to hear this. I gestured vaguely at the room, at the event, at whatever the Forbes article represented. This was always in me. You just didn't want to wait for it. And that's your right. But you don't get to come back now and rewrite the story into something where you were always supportive, always believing. Her eyes were glassy. I genuinely hope you're happy, I said. I mean that. But we're done here. I put my glass down and walked away. That was 14 months ago. My agency now has 22 full-time employees and offices in 2 cities. We just signed our largest contract to date. I'm not going to give numbers because my lawyer says not to, but let's just say the ramen years feel very far away. Danielle sent one last message about 3 months after the event. She said she was seeing a therapist and working through some things, and that she hoped I didn't hate her. I don't. Hate is heavy, and I've got too much to carry that actually matters. I replied with 2 words, take care. And I meant it. Genuinely. Because here's the thing nobody tells you about reaching the other side of being underestimated. The revenge isn't the success. The success is just the visible part. The real revenge is the quiet, unshakable knowledge that you never needed their belief to get there. You just needed your own. And I always had that. Even standing in a cold kitchen, watching someone walk out the door with her bags packed and her mind made up. I knew. I just had to wait for the rest of the world to catch up.